I no longer feel like I need to have the John Mulaney. I also don't want me to be doing what I'm doing GIF in the show notes anymore, because that should be reserved for you.
Welcome to episode 512 of Concede, a Hearthstone podcast dedicated to making the competitive side of the game more accessible to you. It is Thursday, August 28th, 2025, in the evening. Coming to you from Nomergon, Ohio, it's me, Edelweiss. From Northrend, Massachusetts, we have Wicked Good.
Aye.
From Teldrassil, California, we have Megasa.
Hello.
And from all around the world, we have you, dear listeners. This week's episode is brought to you by our producers, Number Theory, Kresh, Beef Squatch, David P., Jeremy T., Bottlecaps, Grumpy Monk, The Burger Club, Kirk Regan, May, SJ5 Goku, NY Kiwi, Spine, Proby1, and by our patrons of the week, Leaf and Rob Ansel. You can go to patreon.com/CoinConcede to get perks like a thank you at the top of the show, bonus post-show content, early access to new episodes, one-on-one coaching sessions, and help support the show in the process. If you would like to support the show but cannot do so monetarily, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on your podcast feed of choice, as it always helps other people find the show. So, Life and Ladder. I returned from Zurich on Tuesday, and it was an extended day of travel. But I do remarkably well with those adjustments, so I'm actually okay now. But I did actually go to sleep like on time the 2 nights after getting back, because I was so exhausted. Yeah, it's only like an 8-hour flight from Zurich to Philly, but then the only way I could get home in the same day was to then fly to Charlotte and then Cleveland.
I'm tired just listening to that.
So. Yeah, and of course, going west, that means that you're going back in time. So I had more hours in my day that day to spend in transit. Because it started with taking a train to the airport in Zurich at like 9 a.m. It was a long day, but success. I guess I don't know to what extent I divulged this to listeners, but I
don't think you did. Yeah.
The quick and dirty of it is I went with my mother-in-law to a conference for Jungian analysts. I forget the name. It was very long-winded, but essentially we had a 3-part presentation along with a colleague of hers, wherein she put out like some case study and talking about the case for providing treatment and being allies to trans people, right? And then I just literally told my story as much as can be compressed into 20 minutes. My sort of, journey of discovery and coming out and transition. And then a third person kind of talked more about sort of non-binary stuff and in relation to it's a whole elemental thing. I won't try and explain it because I am not a Jungian analyst. I think it was pretty good. I had prepared all kinds of note cards with statistics in case we got some unsavory responses in the Q&A. That did not happen. Unfortunately, that probably didn't happen because in bewildering fashion, they put like all of the things that people would want to go to at the same time. So like there was a trans analyst who like her time slot was at the same time as ours. There might have been another thing that also people might have wanted to go to. Similarly, there were like 2 Medusa related things earlier in the day that were at the same time. And it's like, but what if people, are interested in a theme and want to go to all of the things in that theme? Seems rude, but the place was, I don't know, a quarter full, and we got some good responses. In particular, I got some nice responses of people saying that sort of hearing a story like mine sort of shifted perspective on a few things, which was kind of the point. So maybe we'll give that talk other places, maybe around the US. We'll see. I think we certainly would like to, but it was very strange going to a conference of people who not only probably have like PhDs and stuff, but spent multiple years like getting certified as Jungian analysts. And in one of the most expensive cities in the world. Holy smokes. That was... I am glad that my mother-in-law was like covering everything to marking as a business expense, because it was a lot. The Swiss franc is stronger than the dollar, probably stronger than when I got there, based on current events. And also it is, a not cheap city. I think the lunches were like $22 for like half a wrap and a bottle of some kind of beverage.
Sounds like going to PAX.
The lunches that like you could get at the conference, and I'm like, okay, that's intense. But it was a lot of fun. We toured the Lindt factory, which is a chocolatier. That was quite cool. They did give a lot of free samples there, which is
I would imagine
lovely.
That's the draw of the tour. Like, going to see how the chocolate is made is one thing, but you going
walk
for
in and you can't like dip your finger in this, but they have a huge, I think the largest chocolate fountain in the world. It's like a big whisk dripping down chocolate into it. They give you kind of the history, how the chocolate's harvested, made, etc. And then these things you can sample, and then you can take one of each of their nice flavors on the way out. I didn't actually get anything from them because the aforementioned expense, and it probably would be just as much for me to buy Lindt products here in the United States, because they actually...
You just find an outlet. If you like, we had an Lindt outlet near us.
Yeah.
At one point, and you could get like the rejects real cheap.
And
there's nothing wrong with them. It was just like, oh, maybe like it's a little, maybe it's dented in or whatever.
Popped out of the mold weird, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. And it still tasted just as good. It wasn't like tainted or anything. So
yeah, and then I got some hot chocolate to enjoy on the way back. We took like a water ferry sort of around Lake Zurich, which was cool. The hot chocolate was intense. It was very strong. I don't think I accidentally got an alcoholic one, but it was like as strong of a flavor as something alcoholic. If I have a regret, it's that I didn't get like a Dubai chocolate thing before going, because that's like the in thing, and it's very tasty. And we had a lovely brunch at a confiserie, which is like a sweets place called Sprungli, where you like book 2 hours, and we left half an hour early. I think the staff were surprised. That seems to be not the done thing. I think you stay the full 2 hours and you eat the whole 2 hours. I was bursting, so we did not do that. But it was very, very yummy. And yeah, that was kind of the most exciting thing in my week. I've been playing Arena otherwise.
Well, that's hard to compete with.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah.
For pretty much any week.
Well, I'm happy to report that my oldest has been settling into college. Well, we've only had to bring stuff up to her twice. And one could have been a package, but, whatever. But she's doing okay. She sent me multiple pictures of her playing Commander games, so I think she's found her people, which is good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
The best way to spend college.
Yeah.
Yes. You taught her Magic just in time for college. This is great.
She said she joined the Magic and D&D Discords, so she's set. She's got people.
Perfect.
So, yeah. I had some time over the weekend to try the demo for the new Trails in the Sky first chapter remake, and I don't know if I warned the listeners. I definitely have warned both of you that I was going to become increasingly annoying about this game as it came closer to release, and I am not going to beat those allegations. I imagine this is probably, because I never really played Final Fantasy VII before I played Remake. Like, I tried it a little bit, but I never really got into it. Like, I certainly didn't like have a love for it. I imagine this is how like Final Fantasy VII fans felt playing Remake for the first time. Like, it is taking a game that I absolutely adore and making it playable. It is a modern game. They fixed a lot of the problems with it. Like they sped it up a lot. Not the story. The story is still slow by design, but
Mhm.
that's kind of the charm of it. But like, it actually is as close to the Final Fantasy VII Remake battle system as I've seen. Like, you start off
Nice.
each encounter in real-time combat, and then you go into a tactical mode. Basically, the first time you want to cast a spell, then it moves you into tactical mode. But there's like the
Yeah.
battle system is really involved anyway, and there's a lot of positioning. It's more like it's almost like a strategy RPG than anything. The way that the combat works, and there's a lot of flexibility in the builds, which they've preserved, but they've actually made it a little bit less obtuse. And the voice acting is very good because the original game had no voice acting, or maybe a little bit, but it was but seeing like these worlds like in 3D like coming to life is really, really cool. I only played the first hour and a half of it. The demo is like 5 hours long for free, and and your progress carries over into the main game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's acceptable. I was gonna
yeah.
say, if you play 5 hours and then you're like, all right, let's do it again. Now the full game is out.
Yeah, no, it's because it's basically like the first chapter of the game, and I thought the first chapter of the game ended significantly earlier than where I stopped where I thought the first chapter of the game ended in my memory, which is not where it ends.
May I ask, out of how many chapters?
4.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah,
that's fine. I could I could
Yeah.
play this game.
yeah. I mean, it is because you're not committing to like the whole rest of the series. Like, I think that's kind of
Right.
the thing with it, is that you had to commit to like doing the whole rest of the series, and it's a pain in the butt to get it to run because it only runs on Windows, and it's like a port of a PSP game and whatever. But it's easier to play, and it runs, and it's delightful. Like, Estelle Bright is one of my favorite characters in video games of all time. I actually just ordered stickers of her for both me and my younger daughter, just with a picture of her looking adorable with her staff saying "Time for ultra violence," which is something she says in the game, by the way. That's not just somebody doing like a quote. That's like actually a quote from the game, is her saying that. So
See, I was concerned that it would be something like a Persona game, which is like, I know I would like this, and I would not exist for a month because
no, I don't think it's going to be
they're
that.
like,
I mean,
100+ hour games.
no, I mean,
Yeah.
I think like they were saying 80 if you take your time and 100% it. I think it's probably 40 to 60. It's the kind of thing you can kind of play. It's like a slice of life anime ultimately. Anyway, so I stopped playing because I just basically I'm waiting for the full game to come out, and then I'll just play it. Because like I don't want to play like a quarter of the game and then stop, and I'm kind of playing Hollow Knight now anyway to get ready for Silk Song, which will come up between then and now. So
I need to attempt that game again.
I also realized I did not get very far in that game. I only got like 4 or 5 hours in, so I'm actually giving it a real college try this time. No pun intended. As far as Hearthstone things are concerned, I have led with that because I am ashamed of my actions once again, because I've gone back to Starship Death Knight. I've been winning with it, but I've also been playing some fairly absurd games. I ran into, I think it's Glacier from our
deserve.
I think it was Glacier from our Discord who I lost to on my phone at lunch today. That almost made me late getting back to the office because they were playing. It was definitely someone named Glacier, and I didn't reach out, and I should have, but they were playing Fire Act Rogue. I was on the Starship DK, and they played 3 Marins, and the third one got them a Zarog's Crown with Jaden, and he outkilled Jaden in my deck. And that was after about 25 minutes. And then there was a game when I got home where I decided I'm going to play one game before we record the podcast. And that was a half-hour game against a quest mage where I ended up having to run them fully out of cards into about 7 or 8 ticks of fatigue before they finally gave up. So it is my kind of deck, and I'm okay with it. But I also would really like to be playing something else. But this is my lot in life, I guess, because if I want to play a control deck, this is what I'm doing with my life now. So it is what it is. I auto lose to Quest Warlock, though I did queue into a Warlock at lunch today that I thought was Quest, except they never played a Quest, and it turned out that they were just playing Curse campaigns. I don't know why they were
Were they
playing
like a
curse
wheel
campaigns in
lock?
Ancient of Yours in August of 2025, but they drew their whole deck and then conceded. So
Huh.
maybe they were playing wheel and maybe they weren't. I don't know, but they drew their deck and they conceded. So I don't know. I didn't see them burn it, but
I have a wheel
Yeah.
lock story, but I'll hold on. For a
okay.
second.
I'm good. I've tortured people with Death Knight enough, so you go ahead. And you in particular, I've tortured by recounting tales of Death Knight enough.
So, except for just right before the show where I did start to have a bit of regression to the mean, but I'm still very positive with the Fyrak Rogue. I think I'm like 75%-ish with it across the different lists. I did finally hit Legend, and then once I hit Legend, around 2K, and I've climbed a little bit since then, but about there since my regression to the mean, I immediately started running into more mirrors and realized I needed to do the tech for the mirrors. So in went the Customs Enforcers. I did keep Ashamain, but I put in one raiding party. And Ashamain has been helpful, as in, I had a game against a Wheel Warlock that is the antithesis of everything that each of you stand for, so I apologize. I told you a little bit about this game, but basically, the short version is, it's the antithesis of what Edelweiss stands for, because I was beating them with their own cards. And the antithesis of what Wicked Good stands for, A, because I was playing Rogue.
Yes.
And B, because I finally won with a Kil'jaeden I had gotten from Nightmare Fuel. And then I played the Kil'jaeden early, and I had dreamed their starship. So they were waiting to redraw it before they played their Kil'jaeden. And it was, luckily for me, pretty far back in the deck. So I was ahead on Kil'jaeden. I pull a Razadier and discard their wheel.
And then there's more. The game kept going?
The game kept going because they recognized, okay, if I can get the starship down and clear their board, like basically at the same time, they had a way to do this. And they...
What, Ceaseless Expanse?
Or actually, yeah, it was Spellverse on the starship. Anyway, I can't remember how. I could find the replay, but it's not important. They did have a plan with their last few cards, and they cleared my board, and they put their starship down, and they said, you just have demons left. What are you going to do about this? I top deck a Treacherous Tormentor and get Black Knight.
This is... I no longer feel like I need to have the John Mulaney. I also don't want me to be doing what I'm doing GIF in the show notes anymore, because that should be reserved for you.
Yeah.
See, my preferred thing with a matchup like that is like they go into Kil'jaeden, and then you like once the stuff's big enough, you Ashamain and just get a bunch of cheap, huge demons that you then swarm the board with.
I probably should have saved my Ashamain for that. I think I used my Ashamain. You know what? I'm going to find this replay really fast. It was a 22-minute game, 19 turns, because we both went past fatigue.
Oh my god.
Big board after big board. They got armor, I got armor. I was preventing them from playing their Elise location for a long time with Customs Enforcers.
Oh, you're not just running Demolition Renovator like a lady?
Nope. I am not. Okay, there's Ashamain. What did I get? Yeah, I didn't get a lot of useful stuff with Ashamain. I did get a little bit of healing, and I put a cursed campaign on the Customs Enforcer, I think, because I was like, once you get Kil'jaeden, this will be annoying for you.
Oh.
But it might have been more useful after. But yeah, lots of big demons. Didn't manage to discard their starship with the second Razadier that I drew, because of course I drew a second one. And they must have been pretty salty. I also had a game today against a Nebula Shaman. They did the triple Nebula thing, and I cleared it because I had a board and also Shaladrisil. And then I Ashamained and made my own huge Nebula board and got Meta Striders because I had completely drawn through my entire deck, and now I wasn't going to fatigue because I had like 3 Meadow Striders because they had already gotten some that were shuffled back in their deck. And,
goodness.
Yeah, so I am surprisingly having fun with this. Well, but I am not used to the amount of time the games take. Like, I think if I had this win rate and it was an aggro deck, I would feel pretty good about my chances of climbing into 11x by the end of the month. But I am not, especially because I'm going up to see my mother-in-law, and she already thinks I play this game too much. So I should actually be social.
But this is professional procrastination.
It's for my podcast. It's a hobby.
Yes.
I'm not just playing a video game.
You're not just playing a game. You're making content. That was all content. Those games were content.
Those games were content. That's exactly what I was thinking. So I was sitting there going, I don't have time to play another one.
I have to say, like, the podcast plus casting has been like the best for like legitimizing a previous thing that might have been described as a bad habit, right? Like,
it's a hobby and actually a job. It's a career.
What's the lyrics from the K-pop Demon Hunters thing? Something because I got too wild and now that's how I'm getting paid.
Yes.
I don't know, but I actually watched that, so I might actually recognize them if you came up with
Called a problem child because I got too wild, but now that's how I'm getting paid.
Exactly.
That's what it feels like.
I actually did watch that this week. Neither my husband nor I are like fans of K-pop or anime. I know it's Korean, not Japanese, but there was, like the first scene we're like, is this going to be for us? And then like the music hits, the story gets into it, the animation's beautiful. It was great.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. They really nailed it. It's just a good time. Like,
yeah, it's just fun. Best scene is the cat with the potted plant, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
it's just unexpected
incredible.
And very good.
So good.
Yeah.
But we do actually have like a fair amount of stuff to talk about this week. We're not just buying time. In fact, we are perhaps foolishly spending a lot of time on all this because we have so many cards.
Hoist on our own petard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about some news because we have we have stuff to talk about.
Gadgets and Gazette always gets the scoop.
Okay, so we got a little bit of an amuse-bouche, if you will, before we get to the main event, which we'll talk about in Dexplanations. That's me being sophisticated, by the way. So I would like you all to recognize that. So
I have heard that word like more times in the last year than in the entire rest of my life. I don't know why. Like what?
I only know it from watching like cooking competition shows. Like that's the only reason I know it. And I'm not fancy enough to have actually partaken in something like that. But anyway.
We have one family friend who's incredibly wealthy, and so there's like random things that I know, but it's like very different from my actual family.
Anyhow, there is the Lost City Fire Festival is live right now. It is only a week long. It is you can get one pack for the first part, then a tavern ticket, then another tavern ticket and another pack, and then finally a golden pack for completing the event. The event wants you to play and win ranked games. That may or may not be something that you are interested in doing, but that is what it wants you to do.
I will point out, it's not a lot of rewards. I know it feels really, it doesn't feel great to not finish an event, but it's not, there's no cosmetics you can't get any other way or anything like that in this event.
Yeah. There's also a hotfix patch that came out. There are a number of bug fixes for both standard and wild. The biggest ticket item is that Ancient of Yore now works correctly when copied by, in particular, by Replicator when dormant. It is no longer going to never wake up, which is good. So they have also unbanned Replicator in standard and wild, so you can do that again. I've been hearing there may be still some other weirdnesses with Ancient of Yore, so buyer beware, but that main one has been corrected. That also apparently affected Ixlid Fungal Lord, which I forgot was a card but exists in wild.
Indeed.
Which is from Cobalt and Catacombs, which is a 5-mana 2/4 that says after you play a minion, summon a copy of it. So that was also affecting Magtheridon as well as Ancient of Yore. I guess Magtheridon would be slightly less problematic and certainly sees a lot less play in standard, but I could see that being a thing that, well, if you want 6 damage every turn, maybe that's something you want in Wild if you can get the 13 mana to do it via Condios. But anyway, so those are fixed, and Replicatorator is unbanned. So that is all of the standard news, but hey, we got a mini set announcement and it's coming out on Tuesday. So we are going to go talk about all of that in excruciating detail in Explanations.
All right, so we got an announcement of the Day of Rebirth mini set, and this is, as we said, launching on Tuesday. The announcement was on Wednesday. It says, the colossal egg of Kalos begins to stir, and the Ungoro crater erupts in celebration. As dinosaur hatching season begins, fireworks, feasts, and ancient stories mark the sacred Tortolan tradition where life begins anew and the fallen are honored. Prepare yourself, the Day of Rebirth mini set is about to hatch. It will have, as usual, 38 new cards, 4 legendary cards, 1 epic card, 17 rares, and 16 commons. So 3 cards for each class, and then a few neutrals. They can be either opened in Lost City of Ungoro packs or purchased as a complete set. Normal versions in the mini set will be purchasable for the usual $15 or 2,000 gold. The all golden version for $70 or 10,000 gold, and it includes a bonus diamond copy of the new Beast Speaker Taka legendary minion. We are not going to be talking about every single card, but I will talk through just briefly what they have in the announcement here, and then we're going to do superlatives because this is coming out before we have a chance to record again. So the sort of marquee neutral legendary here is Beast Speaker Taka. She's ancient, wise, and ready to roar. She is a 7-mana 2/2 with Battlecry. Discover a legendary beast from any class to gain its stats, and Death Rattle summon it. So they have a little GIF here where you play her. They discover King Plush, and she becomes an 8/8. And then when she dies, you will summon a King Plush.
I guess it's a matter of how many legendary beasts have on the board abilities that you care about, right? Because like King Plush would have been really cool before they nerfed it.
Yeah.
Now it's just like, oh, great, I got a 6/6. Fantastic. Like, great. I haven't done the research to go and look. Well, I mean, I guess I'm actually looking right now at like what legendary beasts we have. I mean, and there are a bunch in this. There are a couple in this mini set as well, but
Right.
Not so many legendaries.
Not
right?
really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, actually, if they included not legendaries, it might be a better pool just because of I don't think any of us are talking about them in our superlatives, but like there's a lot of new big dinosaurs that they sort of spread around.
Right, and most of them are not legendary. I think there's just the warrior one, which you are going to talk about, that's legendary, and that would be a decent one.
That would be a good hit. Omen is probably the other best hit, right?
Or
the wild
Tortola.
gods. Or Tortola. I think I still like Omen better.
Krog is not bad because that's an end of turn effect. At the end of the turn, set the attack and health of all enemy minions to 1.
If you really, really, really need card draw, Octosari is there. I mean, Onara might actually be a hit here also, which is, if you've forgotten, and I don't blame you, it's the 9-mana 5/11 that says, for Shaman, that says at the end of your turn, play the top 3 cards from your deck. That could, depending on what your deck is, either be amazing or terrible, but a lot of them are battle cries. Like, a lot of them. I'm not doing the math, but I want to say it's like 80% of the available beasts are legendary. Or that are legendaries or battle cries, rather.
Mostly stats. I mean, most of them do have decently big stats, but most of them don't have other effects. Toyrantis is a battle cry, but it's also a 7/7 taunt elusive base, so that's not terrible. Yeah, a lot of them are not as good. Like, Agamagan would be great, except for you're not getting the battle cry. So,
Right.
I mean, Gorm the World Eater is at least a lot of stats, right? I mean, I don't know that you want it to pop out, depending on what your deck is doing, but because that's the
Yeah,
3 mana 12/12 that's dormant for 5 turns. At the end of your turn, you destroy the minion to the right of it to awaken 1 turn sooner. Like, I don't know that that's
Yeah.
necessarily what you want to be doing with your life, but it could be.
The biggest problem, right, is like the turn you play it, it is vanilla stats.
Yes.
So maybe you get something like a Gorm and it says 7 mana, 14/14. Cool. And now you die.
I mean, unless
Like-
you have something like Eat the Imp, right? Like, you could have ways to kill it off the turn you play it.
So you're losing half the stats. Like,
I'm not saying it's a good plan.
yeah.
I guess it says any class. It's so... Are neutrals in it?
Oh,
I guess
yeah,
they
so I
probably
guess
aren't.
not neutrals, yeah.
so you can't actually get Krog.
So Krog's one of the better ones, and that's not even an option, right? So
Although you're taking out 4 not good options, so.
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, you are
It's-
making like
So-
Omen and Tortola a little more likely, I guess. So they also announced, but we'll talk about in superlatives, a new egg, since it is the day of Rebirth and it is hatching new eggs. We have the Egg of Kalos. Stay tuned, we'll talk about that in a second. And the Holy Egg Bearer, who is a tutor for 0 attack minions. So mostly eggs. You could tutor your Lore Walker Cho. You could run in Smallin and tutor your formerly 1 attack minions, because that's clearly what we're doing. Anyway,
Uh-huh.
and there's also a cycle of cards called Masks. It says disguise your minions as iconic beasts from the past and erase your opponent's future. So, for example, the Devilsaur Mask, like, sets a minion stat to 8/8, gives it charge, so it's kind of like it's becoming old King Crush.
The Devilsaur, that was it's not King Crush. There was actually a minion called something Devilsaur.
That was a 7/7 though, right?
It
I'm
might
just
have
reading the
just
text
been
on the
Devilsaur.
announcement. It literally
does it say King Crush?
It literally says King Crush. It says the Devilsaur Mask grants the raw speed and crushing strength of King Crush.
Oh,
Yep.
That's annoying, because like they had Charged Devilsaur, which was a 7/7 and not an 8/8, and they could have just made it a Charged Devilsaur. Anyway, now I'm mad. Okay, anyway, let's
Yep.
go on.
All right, so as usual, superlatives, we will be doing card you can't wait to play with, card you're scared of, card you want to be good but isn't, card you think is over or underrated. As usual, we all did underrated. And our new category of card you just wanted to talk about. So we will start with card you can't wait to play with. And I will start with my card, which will probably not surprise anyone who has looked at these cards, because it is a damage spell that also buffs our board, and it is Fire Breath from Shaman. So it is a 3 mana fire spell, deal 4 damage, give your elementals +1/+1. Right now, we
Yep.
don't really have an elemental shaman, but that's a good right for going face.
I do think that might just make the deck exist, right? Like, it's not that Elemental Shaman doesn't have strong cards, right? Like, Sizzling Cinder is one of the best 1-drops right now, and is in not elemental decks. Having a bunch of stuff that like summons them is pretty good. So I sort of was a little bit surprised that we didn't end up with an Elemental Shaman, but certainly having a burn spell and board-wide buff woven into one seems like a good way to make that possible.
And because it's fire, you can tutor it. You can even give it spell damage. It becomes a 3 mana fireball that also busts your board if you draw it with the Kindred. I mean, you'd probably rather get the Lava Flow, but this is fine too, to get with the spell damage. Yeah, I am excited to hit people with this and atone for my Fyrak Rogue sins.
Well, I mean, Fyrak is also going to play this. So, and sometimes he casts Sizzling Cinders first. So, you know, that could actually be relevant coming out of Fyrak, even if it's not coming out of an Elemental Shaman.
Yeah, this is actually more damage for Fyrak. It makes Fyrak just that little bit more lethal.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
another face
yay.
spell. Mm-hmm.
There's a couple new fire spells, but I think this is the only one we're talking about.
Yeah. And I'll just briefly mention the other elemental that Shaman got that deals 2 damage to 2 random enemy minions, Kindred, and freezes them. Freeze can actually be good for aggro, because then you could just ignore their board better and keep going face. So It's not just for control decks. Anyway, so Edelweiss, what is the card that you can't wait to play with?
I cannot wait to play with the Great Draco Rex, which is a warrior card. Legendary Beast Dragon says it is an 8 mana 5/12 with Rush. After this attacks an enemy minion, it damages all other enemy minions. All of them. Don't have to worry about positioning, any of that. Nope, just deal 5, assuming base power, to everything. Yeah, I love it because it is sort of flexible, right? Like it is just a perfectly good add to a control deck, just by itself, but also works for a sort of dark gift warrior, right? Because
still want that dragon deck to happen.
Yeah,
with the
I
dark
do,
gifts.
and so this may help with that. Sometimes you'll also discover it with a dark gift.
I mean, it's better Nomelia, right? I mean, that's basically what it is. It's because Nomelia always does 2 to the board and then just more to the adjacent minions, and this is just, hey, 5 to everything, assuming that you haven't buffed the power.
Right, which warrior does have ways to do.
Yeah, this is probably also the hit you want to get off of Beastspeaker Taka at the end of the day. Though it's also going to leave her with 14 health, which is a lot to get rid of.
Yeah, you would almost want something that triggered her. Anyway. But yeah, this card by itself does seem like it could be powerful, and I would really love to see that dragon deck at some point showing up, but it doesn't have to be in a dragon deck, certainly.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting. It's like a Triceratops, but dragon is the art here.
Uh-huh.
I mean, they're all chickens at the end of the day, right? So
certainly if you find like there's wild turkeys around where I live, and they definitely believe in their dinosaur heritage, or really that they are dinosaurs and the dinosaurs didn't go extinct, they just are turkeys now. Yeah. They are not afraid of anything. One almost walked into my classroom once and I was like, what do I do? Like, what in this classroom can like gently shoo it out?
Oh my
because
goodness.
I don't want it to attack me. They're very large, actually.
Yeah. They're like geese, but like angry. Yeah, angrier.
Yeah, angrier. Geese are already angry. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
Wicked, what did you choose as card you can't wait to play with?
Well, okay. So it is no secret that one of my favorite cards of all time was Blackwater Behemoth. Like, and it's not close. So obviously I have to go with Behemoth Mask, which is a 7 mana spell for Priest. Set a minion stats to 8/10 and give it lifesteal. Force a random enemy minion to attack it. Perfect. No notes. Love it. Like, I mean, it does. You do have to stick a minion in Priest, which can be a bit of a challenge, but you do run 1-drops in Priest now, and you have things like the weapon that you take from that you tore into from Hunter, or sometimes you're just running some 1-drops that you happen to have, or 2-drops, whatever. And yeah, just
Void Ray 0.
Yeah. Or you resuscitate something and then it's going to stick around because it's got Reborn, and then the next turn you can turn one of them into an 8/10 that heals you for 8. It is not as good as Blackwater Behemoth, but there's a lot of room to be good and be worse than Blackwater Behemoth. And I'm just happy to have my boy back. So
I knew this was gonna be your pick for something.
I'm nothing if not predictable. So
I think the masks is kind of fun as an idea here of like we're turning minions into something else while they're telling the story. So, and I mean, if I think about like Vol'jin is often used to swap stats and kill something, and this also heals you.
Yeah.
And we often have sometimes you can't play Vol'jin because you don't have a minion of your own. This is not flexible in terms of like I guess you could swap 2 enemies, but you probably wouldn't because you're then healing your opponent. But I mean, yeah. maybe if it was really huge and 810 was actually smaller. It doesn't transform it, though. To be clear, it's not a polymorph. It just changes the stats.
Yeah, it still keeps any text that's in the text box. It just changes the numbers in the corners.
So if it's a starship, it still has all of the death rattle or whatever it is that it has going for it, for example. But like we have minions to play Vol'jin with a lot. So this is obviously more expensive, but it also has the attack at end of turn. It gets lifesteal. And if it's able to attack this turn, like you can actually get 16 healing if this is a minion that's stuck, because it attacks and then something attacks into it at the end of the turn.
Or you put it on a rusher, right? Even if it's not like something that was stuck the turn before, like sometimes you can just get it onto a rush minion, and then you have the location from Elise. Like sometimes you'll get the 2/1 Raptors, so you could press if you have that on board already, right? And that costs 5, so it would kind of curve into this where you play that locate, you play Elise on 4, you play the location on 5, play the 3 Raptors. You take turn 6 off, turn 7, then you play it. You don't have to pay for the location. You put the 3 Raptors out, turn one of them into an 8/10, kill one thing, force something else to attack into it. Seems good.
Healed 16 seems good, and it's probably still sticking around on the board because it has 10 health. So, or at least it traded off 2 things most likely. Well, for cards that we couldn't wait to play with last time, I said Resuscitate, which I've definitely enjoyed playing with in lots of different decks. Edelweiss, you said Reanimate the Terror, which is the Death Knight quest.
Sad.
And Wicked Good, also sad. You said Reach Equilibrium, which is the Priest quest.
And we're still waiting.
Perhaps one day, but not so far. However, Behemoth Mask, I think we'll see play, if not possibly right now, and if not right now, then most likely in its cycle. All right, speaking of cards that might see play, we have a card you're scared of. Wicked, you did put a question mark after yours.
Yeah, I don't know how scared of this I am, but there wasn't a lot that scared me out of the set, but this is certainly something that Quest Warlock or Quest Paladin already got a lot. And thank goodness this wasn't in the main set. But Firegill's a 2-mana 3/2 elemental Murloc with Kindred, give your other minions rush. We don't need to give the Murlocs rush. It's fine. They're good. We don't need to help them anymore. But that's what this is going to do. And it feels like that deck, even though it's gotten nerfed, it's still decent, and it doesn't take much to push that over the edge. So this could, if that deck does end up coming back, this could get a little bit spooky.
I think this does help it a lot later against aggressive decks, because what I found with Quest Paladin is that they are a little bit slower to get going. So if you're playing something aggressive, you can get to a point where they're starting to make big boards a bit later than you, and their boards are mostly not defensive. They have the Kindred one that summons a couple rushers, and they have Tyrannogill, neither of which are something to sneeze at. But if you make a big wide board, they can like put a bunch of minions out but not defend themselves, and then they die. Firegill is helpful for that kind of situation later in the game when they're able to put a bunch of minions down, but it doesn't help them survive. Now it does.
Yeah, I was playing actually a decent amount of Quest Paladin because kind of like barring hitting those aggro matchups, I feel like it goes decently into a lot of stuff, right? Your better Fyrakk Rogue players can get you, right? Like, but if they don't have the Scoundrel, I feel like you can get to a point where your stuff is just sort of too big. And yeah, it was doing sort of surprisingly well, and I feel like once you add in reliability of something like Firegill, it just makes it that much easier to defend itself.
Yeah. For anyone who likes Quest Paladin, this definitely seems like a good addition. And it is a quest deck. So, but that should help a lot. And yeah, tips to any Fyrakk Rogue players out there: if you see a Quest Paladin, you want to try to be as fast and aggressive as possible, because their stuff gets too big for you eventually. But if you can cheat your stuff out before then, they can struggle. All right. Speaking of, Edelweiss, what did you pick for card you're scared of?
So I had to pick a Druid card, of course. It is Long Neck Egg. which might actually be in conjunction with my pick for underrated, which is, I admit, a big swing of a pick, but it is, as the name implies, an egg, 2 mana, 0/2, death rattle, summon a 1/2 beast, give your minions +1/+1. I don't know, it's kind of weird because like you have to break the egg to give your minions that buff, but I feel like it's the kind of thing that just works so well with an aggro druid that if there is like an egg aggro druid, it's gonna be in there, and they'll find ways to do it, right? Like there's the thing where you destroy a minion and like resummon another of the cost, like maybe that goes in the deck. I don't know if it'll be a quest aggro druid, but I certainly feel like you could do an aggro druid with this.
And I think an egg aspect might work for, like, if we end up with a quest druid. We had talked about how quest druid kind of needs like just pucks on the board in order to fill up. And eggs kind of are that until you break them. That they just kind of take up space on the board is not actually bad if you're a quest druid.
Yeah.
But there might also just be an egg druid that's not a quest druid. I mean, I kind of hope that it's a deck. It sounds like a deck that I would enjoy, but
And it might not be right away, right? Like, I mean, aggro druid would is something that we've seen pop up when it's had a critical enough mass of just stuff that makes stuff. And like maybe we don't have it right now, but this is the kind of thing that if and when we get something like that, this would probably fit into it. And I think it is a little bit awkward that you don't get to choose when it hatches.
Unless you do.
But it's not as easy to do that. But I mean, you also could just throw like what is it? Not Power of the Wild. The one that gives it taunt, and
yeah, the +2/+2.
Yeah,
one that gives it taunt. Mark of the Wild, maybe.
Mark of the Wild. Yeah.
Sounds right.
There are lots of buffs for it that they made for that. I don't know if lots of, but like they made buffs sort of for the quest druid token deck that hasn't materialized. So like there are buffs as well to give to the egg to break it.
But I'm thinking specifically giving it taunt, right, to force your opponent to trade into it and break it before everything else.
Because normally your opponent would kill this last if they're going to clear it at all.
Right.
Yeah, and then it doesn't help you. All right. Well, what I picked for card you're scared of, and I'm not beating any rap about me either with this one, is the Death Knight card. Story of Umbra, 7 mana. Discover a Death Rattle minion that costs 5 or more. Summon it and trigger its Death Rattle. Mostly I picked this because it goes in the types of decks that are really aggravating for me to face. But I also looked at the Death Rattle minions that cost 5 or more.
Oh no.
And like, there's some good ones here. Not all of them.
Arcanite.
You got Arcanite?
That's always the answer, right?
I think actually, I don't know that Starship like cares enough to want that, right? Because it's more of a pressure deck right now. But certainly the one that plays your 8-drop to like have the Frost Beast and the Undead thing fight. I know I'm doing a great job describing.
High Cultist Terran. Yeah. I will say when I read this the first time, I thought it said a Death Rattle minion that had died this game. And then I was very, very scared of it. And then I realized it was just a vanilla Death Rattle minion. And I got significantly less scared, which is not to say that it's innocuous, but I thought, oh, we're just bringing back starships now.
Right.
And that's not what's happening. So.
No, it's, so you could get, I mean, like some of the things you could get Galaxy's Lens from Farseer Nobundu. And remember, you're getting all these things twice.
Well, it's Discover, right? So you're not gonna get stuff outside of your class.
Right. This is what I'm saying. These are options that you might. Oh, it's Discover, so you're not getting outside of your class. Right.
Yeah.
You know what? It was because we can edit this out. It was because of the other. I was looking up every class for the other one.
The beast thing. Yeah.
Okay. So actually, that makes me less scared of it. But give me a second to change this into Death Knight. Okay. Well. Okay. So looking at the options for Death Knight, there's not that many. I guess we also have neutral. But like Bone Shell Stegodon, deal 6 damage to 3 random enemies. Wakener of Souls, resurrect a different friendly Death Rattle minion. Travel Security, summon a random 8-cost minion. Nithendra, split into 1/1 beetles.
I mean, I don't think that's what we're looking to do.
I don't
but
think
yeah.
that's what you're picking, but
yeah.
And if we look in the neutrals,
Splitting Space Rock and Morag Forge Fiend are probably two of the better ones in the neutrals. Maybe Talon in specific circumstances.
Yeah, a lot of them just kind of summon some stats. You know, Cairn Bloodhoof gets you a 5/5. That's not amazing, but we're not taking Octosari except in extreme circumstances. But it does also summon you this. It's not just giving you the Death Rattle. Right?
Yeah,
and you
so
are getting the Death Rattle twice.
You're getting the Death Rattle twice. Like Nomelia in certain circumstances would be good. If you really want to get everything so you can kill Jaden, you can take Octosari once again. But I don't think that's what you want to be doing with your life. But like Meadow Strider, even in some weird circumstances, might be a thing you might want to do. Probably not, but
I think the main Space Rock,
even like Galactic Crusader, maybe like get 2 random holy spells that cost 3 less. Like that's reasonable in like a control deck. I mean, you got to be playing a control deck to play this, right? Like this is a very slow card.
Yeah, this is definitely a slow card. I think its main downside is that I think there are a decent amount of good hits, but they're not super reliable in terms of what they do. Like there are a number of things that help clear the board a bit, but I wouldn't necessarily play this instead of a board clear unless I had no other board clear. You can probably either get some stats or effect to the board in some way from this Discover. And some of them, like Wakener of Souls, could be really good hits. And ones that like it's really only like things that have battle cries and death rattles, but mostly you don't see a lot of that. Like Ursoc is not a good hit off of this.
No. I mean, it's a 6/14. It's still a 6/14.
It is a 6/14. That's true. It is still a 6/14.
But you're not going to get any I mean, you're going to get death rattles off of it, but they're not going to do anything. Same thing with Dr. Stitch and So. Like Dr. Stitch and So is just actually bad.
Yeah, you're never taking that one.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know that it's like I could put a question mark after this too. I don't know that it's like objectively that scary, but I think it could be decent, and it definitely is going to make a Trollden moment at some point in its career. Last time for card you're scared of, Wicked, you picked Dive the Galaka's Depths.
I think I was justified in that, yeah.
Yeah, took over, especially at the beginning. Edelweiss, you were definitely justified in Low the Living Legend.
Yep.
And I said Shellnado, which it's good, but you know, it's not like the scariest part of Warrior, and Warrior's not the scariest slow deck. That's okay. All right. Going to the other direction, card you want to be good but isn't. So this one, I'm not convinced that it's like, I think there's going to be at some point that it's playable. But I picked Crater Experiment. It is a 5-mana amalgam, so all minion types, 3/4, with Kindred, summon a copy of this. So it's like trivial to get the Kindred, right? If you're playing minions, basically. You're going to summon a copy of it. But do you guys remember there was a priest minion back in Nathria that was like a 4-mana 4/3 that summoned a copy of itself? And everyone was like, this card's going to be nuts.
Yeah, it was
and
terrible.
It was terrible, and no one ever played it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. This is 5 mana. So you need to be doing something. Now, it has all minion types. That means that surely at some point, someone will figure out something wacky to do with this. And maybe someone already has, and I don't know about it. That's entirely possible. But you really have to do something with this. Maybe like in hand buff Death Knight.
I mean, Quest Paladin.
Quest Paladin, yeah. And then you give it Rush with Fire Girl.
Right, yeah. But I mean, because it's going to get they're both going to get the buffs, right? So, and I guess,
yeah.
Does the second one get buffed twice? Because it gets the buff from the quest, and then the copy gets summoned. Does the copy then get buffed again by the quest?
Yes.
Probably,
Okay.
yes. Okay,
So
so I should
yeah.
just like switch mine. I should just, because I after started talking, I realized Story of Umbra was probably worse than I thought, and Creator Experiment is better than I thought. So we can just swap-a-roo those a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It is
Maybe.
still expensive. The fact that it's all minion types, I think, means that like if some tribal decks have a chance, then this does. But even with the case we were describing there, I don't think you run Creator Experiment in a Quest Paladin. I think you're just happy to see it sometimes, you know?
Mm-hmm. It is expensive and it doesn't have any keywords unless you also, like, it's late enough in the game and you have a Fire Girl and you can give it Rush. Like, then it's good. And its base stats are not that big. If you're hand buffing it, maybe, or have some other way to do silly things to a minion. But so I did put For Now in here. I said I don't think it's broken now, but someone may come up with a way.
Yeah.
All right, Edelweiss, what did you put for card you want to be good but isn't? Speaking of minion types.
Yeah, I put Tortotem, which is a shaman card. Surprise, surprise! A totem card is a shaman card. 2 mana, 0/4 totem. At the end of your turn, gets a random minion with multiple. Sorry, get a random minion with multiple minion types, as in like you get it to your hand. Which clearly this is supposed to be a you play the quest and then you play this and it gives you totem, which is an obscure minion type, and then you also get another thing, which is multiple minion types. But it's still an 0/4 totem. And so, yeah.
And you could get stuff that's just clogging up your hand, right? Like you could get something good, but you also could get like Chilma.
Could even be a boat.
Yeah. So, yeah, not like super excited about that. I really want the Shaman quest to be playable, and that feels so far away.
Yeah, it's better than it was, but it's still like 40%. So, yeah.
I mean, this is going to come out of Soulbound Spire a non-zero amount of the time.
Why would it?
Because it's got cost of 2 and the base
Soulbound
Spire is
cost,
2.
Right? I was like, but it's 0 power, so it
yeah.
wouldn't have, yeah.
Yeah, so you're going to see this in Death Knight just by happenstance some amount of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, okay, then you get some more stuff to play in Death Knight. You're probably not upset about it getting it for free out of a Starship piece.
Maybe? Yeah. I don't know if you're particularly thrilled about it. Like,
it doesn't help your board, yeah.
I don't know.
You have to pay full cost for whatever you get.
You're kind of happy with whatever you get out of that. So the first one, you're looking for the bombs out of the giant spaceship, but the two cost one, like you're happy with whatever you get, and that's the kind of thing that'll stick for a couple turns probably.
I don't know if you want it to stick is the thing. They could just ignore it and clog your hand up with stuff you don't want. Control decks like don't necessarily want their hand clogged up with stuff. Yeah,
I guess it could be bad. I don't know, but then they're nerfing Starship DK, so you should be happy. So I don't know why you're protesting about this.
All right. Well, Wicked.
Okay.
You said, note, I don't actually want this to be good.
Yeah. I don't want there to be any confusion because I'm talking about a rogue card, and I don't want this to be good because if it is good, I'm going to be upset. But I'm fairly convinced that it's not. So it's the rogue legendary is Mirex the Crystalline or Crystalline. I don't know.
Crystalline. I think.
Tomato. I don't know. 3 mana 3/3 elemental beast. While this is in your hand, this is a 3/3 copy of the last minion your opponent played. I know I bring up Chameleos about once a year. Because this is Chameleos. It's not quite, but it is potential energy, and you do not get to plan around when you get to play this. So you basically need to alter your turn plan based on your opponent giving you a reason to get this out of your hand. And some of the things that they're going to play are not going to be good when they're 3/3s. Some of them will be good, but ultimately you're getting a minion that they played. Now, sometimes that'll be a Kill Jaden, which you may have to worry about if you're playing something like a Death Knight. Or there are other things that they can play that you would, like a Marin or whatever, that's generically good. And then there's things that are not that, like, I don't know, like Murlocs. Most Murlocs are not good if you're just playing one of them. You're going to have to plan around just like whatever your plan you come up with for your turn. Well, now you need to play this right now if you're going to get value out of this thing. And those cards have, in general, never really hit.
I mean, to be fair with this one, you can kind of plan around, I'm waiting for them to play a particular thing. Now, if this card gets played a lot, they might, learn to...
They can just play something else
play
on the same
around
turn.
it, play something else after it. But I think it's most useful when there's high-value cards that you want to be able to copy, but only in certain matchups. Although at that point, I guess you could just run Kill Jaden.
You could just run a
if
good
you're that
card.
Worried about it.
You could run a good card of your own and play that instead. Now, it costs 7 instead of 3, sure. But also, like, the cards that you want to copy with this, you're not playing on turn 3 anyway, probably. So it doesn't matter.
I mean, you're doing this to, like, also, Fyrak again, or, just, like, have even more value in the slower matchups, probably. Or you could play it with Scoundrel, and it be almost anything in a faster matchup, and you're fine.
I don't know. This is
that
Puppet
sort
Theater
of
at
magic
home.
3 mana.
That's what this is. This is Puppet Theater
It's
at home.
not as good as Puppet Theater. I'll agree with that. Well, last time, for card you want to be good but isn't, I said Merchant of Legend. Edelweiss said Story of Sulfuras. And Wicked Good said Twilight Mender. We have not seen any of those cards.
Yeah. I mean, we're not exactly amazing prognosticators with that category. Like, that, given this set, a lot of things haven't seen play. So it's not like we're amazing card evaluators. We just, we pick cards. More likely than not, they weren't going to see play in Standard. So.
Yeah.
All right, well, now to get a little bit more controversial. We have card that we think is, in this case, we all did underrated. So, Wicked, what do you think is underrated?
So, this is a combo. So, I'm cheating a little, but I think it kind of has to be. So, Possessed Animancer is a 6-mana 2/2 for Warlock, which it's going to have some text on it, if that's what we're doing with our lives. Death Rattle, summon a random beast from your deck, give it lifesteal. And I read this, and I scratched my head for a while, because what the hell kind of beast are we trying to summon in Warlock? And then I kept reading the rest of the set, and there is Asphyxiodon, which is an 8-mana 6/10 demon beast, which is also in this mini set. With taunts, at the end of your turn, deal 5 damage to a random enemy minion. This is not to say that this is not a risky strategy, but getting some cube block vibes here. Like cube block at home, to be perfectly clear, right? Like very much cube block at home. Like this is not Void Lord, even close. But we did have an expensive 2/2 that you would sacrifice to get out a big thing. And if you're giving this lifesteal, that means that the taunt has lifesteal, and it's also healing you for 5 immediately, assuming that you have a minion on your opponent's board that it can hit. Which, I don't know if that's good enough, but it seems at least worth investigating, if nothing else.
You know what, we do this? I am joking a little bit, but there are some neutral hits if we're really doing this. There's Krog, which we can actually do with this one, unlike with the other legendary. At the end of your turn, set the attack and health of all enemy minions to 1. Sure. And the funniest route is Ultra Gigasaur, the 11-mana 14/28. Now, if you draw that, you can never play it, and so you've really drawn patches. But if you're going for maximum memes, Ultra Gigasaur.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing that, you probably are running Ysera or something like that, or you can just coin it. But also, I don't know that you run any other beasts in that deck, right? Because there aren't, you have to go out of your way. And I think the odds of you hitting, I mean, there are enough things in this game where you run 2 tutors for 2 copies of a card, and sometimes you brick, and that's just the way things go sometimes. And this doesn't seem outlandish to me to at least try it to see if it's going to be something like in a Wheel Warlock or something like that wants to draw out of its deck anyway and needs defensive tools. It doesn't seem completely unreasonable to me that this could at least get tried. I don't know if it's good enough, but it at least could get tried.
Beached Whale is the 420 taunt.
Yeah.
Yep.
If we wanted to run something else as a, insurance, just had to mention that one. All right, Edelweiss, this is the spiciest take, I think. What did you pick for card you think is underrated?
Okay, so here's the deal. I picked the Egg of Kelos, which, if you listen to Blizzlet, they ripped this card to pieces, because I get that it is an egg that has to get broken many times before
5 times.
you get the result. But I would argue that the point is not the minion that you get at the end so much as the 5 times. Like, if you consider this in an egg druid, right? If you consider the masks, which all look really, really mediocre, most of them. I guess your behemoth one looks pretty. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about the masks, because in normal times the masks would all be pretty unplayable. But if we have somehow deflated things to the point that, like, there's just a lot more stuff sticking on board, or if we're playing a bunch of eggs, right, then the masks look more appealing. And you can always have a target for, like, a mask or other kind of effect like that. And yeah, in the case of the Quest Druid, have this thing taking up a board space like forever alongside your other eggs and things. So if you have enough board buffs that you just need to say, hey, I'm going to have stuff all the time. And there's a neutral that, like, tutors eggs right now. There's right that they just made.
Holy Egg Bearer.
2 mana 1/2 battle cry, draw 0 attack minion. So you can draw this, or presumably one of your other eggs, because I think if you're running this, you are a deck that runs many eggs. And
Panther Mask from Druid on this egg, right? Because it doesn't transform it. So Panther Mask, set a minion stats to 5/4, give it stealth, draw 2 cards for 4 mana.
Yeah, I mean, I think we may exist in a space where, like, because silence and transform is so premium, right? Like, it just isn't there for the most part. Something like this is possible. And maybe very occasionally the 2020 comes out, but I don't think it's about that.
Yeah. I do like how the art, each time it cracks, and just to make sure we give the full text of the 3 mana 0/3 death rattle, summon a slightly cracked egg, break 5 times to hatch into a 2020 beast. The art, like, the egg gets more and more cracked, and the thing is gradually getting revealed and coming out, which is cool. So they have 5 different arts.
Yeah, the meme is that, like, oh my god, you get a 2020 and it doesn't even have any keywords, right? I think,
and then it just dies because it dies to removal, right? Like, that's the meme. But I mean, and also, like, Eat the Imp is a card, right? Like, there are sometimes ways that you want to take advantage of just having minions on board, not necessarily the masks, but, like, there are different ways that you can do that, or I mean, Vol'jin can make that into something. That's something you're always going to be able to. We just talked about needing to have a minion on board for Vol'jin. Like, maybe that's something that you can just kind of have that as a combo. I mean, again, that's 2 legendaries, so maybe that's not exactly the way you want to go, but it is something that you could do.
But like Death Knight could run a couple copies of the destroy a minion and, you know, get bones with its stats, right? You run 2 copies of that. You run,
or it's just
to be
5
able to...
corpses, right? Like, legitimately, that could be good enough just to have 5 corpses, and maybe you get a 20/20 out of it eventually.
But I mean, so yeah, there is that. But I think like you can have sort of an aggressive death rattle strategy, right? That includes this egg in Death Knight. There is a new Death Knight card that would support that. Soul Rest Ceremony, 1 cost shadow spell, give your minions +1 attack and rush. They die at the end of your turn.
An Eternal Layover's a thing too, potentially.
An Eternal Layover's a thing. You know, there's all the ways of giving like Reborn stuff, right? So you could have a bunch of these and just have this really sticky board. And then as long as you can make it happen where the 20/20 summons on your turn.
Is that all we need to do?
Well, like the games are going longer, right?
Yeah.
So you could end up, if you have a deck that like does buff its minions, right? And is again, the main thing is that you are sort of buffing or destroying your own minions. But then if you get out the 20/20 and you just say, okay, I'm gonna get your bones and put it on my hero power that has charge, I think maybe that's real. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I definitely looked at this and I was like, what is even happening? But the reward needs to be the journey, not only the destination.
Like,
or we don't care about a 20/20 with no keywords. We just care about that's 20/20 worth of stats for a lot cheaper than, I mean, it's much later, but if the game has gone later, we might need an extra 20 damage.
Yeah. There would have been a time where I would have said something along the lines of, they're not going to design the entire mini set around this card and have it not be playable. Like, I don't think that's a guarantee in the year 2025 necessarily, but I would like to think that this is something that it may not be great, but there's something to be done with this. Like, that there's a lot of emphasis being put on this card. I mean, there's also a lot of emphasis put on the quests in the main set. So take that as you will.
Mm-hmm.
But
if we have things that are, I never remember what runes anything is in Death Knight, so I don't know if this is like possible rune combination wise. But if there's ways, I guess things like Give It Reborn mostly require other runes, right? Because I'm thinking like you give it Reborn, you end up with a wide board of these things, and then you Grave Strength. And like even if they've never cleared everything,
right?
Because they die 5 times.
I don't know. Does Eternal Layover have runes? I mean, I know that the one that gives it that
Unholy.
So that's fine. Okay.
I think maybe
or
not actually, because the Warlock. I don't know if the Warlock shows up as having.
It's 1 Unholy.
Okay,
Eternal Layover.
That makes sense.
Brittlebone Buccaneer, right? That's also Unholy.
And Alkanite Death Speaker, after another friendly minion is reborn, summon a copy of it. I don't know if we're going that deep into it, but we could, and that's Unholy. And yeah, Brittlebone Buccaneer. So we could just have a like, you're never clearing my board. I don't know if that's better than other aggro Death Knight things, but it's possible.
Yeah, it's just Orbital Moon that you wouldn't be able to run in that deck, but I mean, you could also get it from Assimilating Blight, which nobody's ever thought about because it's Blood Unholy. But yeah, which was a card from Great Dark Beyond, 3 mana, discover a 3-cost Death Rattle minion, summon it with Reborn. So I don't know how many 3-cost Death Rattle minions there are that you can discover in Death Knight, but that sure would be one of them.
That's true. Well, speaking of how there's not a lot of transform or silence effects, for a card you think is underrated, I picked Tribute Dance. And that is a mage spell, 5 mana. Choose a minion, choose a different minion to transform it into. So you can choose your own minion and transform it into another of your own minions. You can transform your own minion into your opponent's, or you can transform your opponent's minion into something else. So it is a polymorph effect, potentially. It is 5 mana, it requires there to be 2 minions, but just thinking about how Vol'jin can be very strong, switching the stats, this, I think we're often using it to neutralize opponent's stuff more, or get our own version of the opponent's stuff. You can't do both, unlike Vol'jin. Like, you don't get their thing and neutralize their thing. Like, against a starship, and just be like, nah, you're anything else on the board, that's what you are now. And they don't get the death rattle, and they don't get to resurrect it with Hydration Station if they're a warrior, or, you know, whatever. So there might be a combo where we're, you know, like if we have some sort of spell damagey mage in the future, and then like this like copies your spell damage minion. It's kind of expensive for that. I don't know that that's what we're using it for mainly. I just think it's underrated in terms of it's a silence effect, and we don't have those right now.
I mean, if you're playing Imbue Mage, which again requires you to be playing Imbue Mage, but then you're always gonna have wisps, right? You're gonna have wisps out of your hero power. So then that's a constant source of vanilla 1/1s that you can change this into. And basically just use that as a, I mean, it's a 7 mana removal spell. But
yeah,
it's
5 mana is a lot to neutralize one thing. It has to be something like the fact that it doesn't have tradable and it's kind of specialized. You'd need to have maybe like 2 plans for it. Like I have something of my own that would be decent to transform a wisp into, or if they play starships, then I neutralize their starship.
Yeah.
But I just think it might be underrated in terms of specifically starship tech.
This is something like you're going to pair with like Grifta, discount all the spells in your hand, you know, or the cards in your hand, make a copy of something that's pretty scary. And I don't know. 5 mana is a lot.
5 mana is it's not as good as like the Elise location copying. Like for sure.
Right.
But the Elise location can't do anything to opposing minions.
Yeah, it's weird. Like sometimes you will turn one of your things into a minion that your opponent has, and sometimes you'll do the opposite. Yeah, I just don't really know how to think about it. I sort of see it as a card that like sometimes you'll pick it from a discover and it'll be clutch, but I just have trouble seeing it be like hard run in something.
That's fair. It is. If it had tradable or something, or we still had ETC, so you could only have it for those matchups when you really need it, then it would have a better chance. But I just was seeing people being like, what do we use this card for at all? And I think that might be one answer that we could consider. For last time, cards that we thought were underrated, Wicked, you chose Cloud Serpent.
Nope.
If Quest Priest was good, I think we'd be playing it. I got a Cloud Serpent discovered off of a Creature of Madness earlier today, and it got me another Fyrakk, so that was good. But that doesn't.
Yeah, was it good
every
enough
day.
to put in your deck? No, it was not, because you had to generate it. So there's our answer. Yeah.
Right. I'm not running it, even though it's called Fyrakk Rogue. That's true. Edelweiss, you said the DK Frost and Death Rattles. That is a deck. It's kind of a fringe deck, but it is a deck. And I said Archaeos, and until they nerfed Jug, Archaeos was quite good. And it's still, actually, by the way, Menagerie Priest still good. Just no one's playing it, including me, which is how you know that no one's playing it. All right. Lastly, we have card you just wanted to talk about. I picked the Faster Priest card, Ritual of Life, 2 mana holy spell, discover a 3-cost minion, summon a 2/2 copy of it. So you essentially get it's a little Creature of Madness like, slightly better on the front end, but you don't get a Dark Gift. So I think the fact that it's a holy spell needs to matter. And right now, this is not going to make Quest Priest viable by itself. But if someday it is, I think this actually is like a decent amount of tempo because it gets you a turn 2 and a turn 3 all in one. It does help with the Kindred draw spell, which sometimes it can be a little tricky to have enough holy spells for that one if you want to use that as your draw in Priest right now. So I don't think this is amazing because, as someone pointed out in the Discord, like, if you're not playing a Creature of Madness, you're probably not playing this. But the Holy Spell part may be relevant. And it'll show up on the Priest Imbue if we're ever playing Priest Imbue again, frequently.
I mean, are we desperate enough to run this to get more Careless Crafters in the OTK Priests? Probably not, right?
It's not a good chance.
it's the odds are not great. Like, you have to want 2 copies of a 3-drop pretty bad to.
Well, there's such a big pool. It's just having a 2-drop and a 3-drop in one card. It's just having a deck maybe that's a little slower, so this gives it early game in one card.
I think if we were running the minions that gave you random holy spells when they died, this would be a holy spell that you wouldn't be upset about getting. Maybe, possibly.
I think again, if this is run, it's because the same reason that Fire Rogue runs Creature of Madness, which is we need something to do on turn 2 and 3, and our deck costs 9.
Yeah, or we're trying to make fetch. I mean, Quest Priest happen.
So I didn't put this as underrated. Like, I don't think that we're suddenly seeing this being played. I don't think this goes in Menagerie Priest or anything like that. But I did just want to talk about the good and the bad. I don't think it's great. I would have loved to see a better Holy and or Shadow spell, but this is what we ended up with. Edel, what is the card you just wanted to talk about?
So it is Crystal Tusk, which is a 2-mana 2/2 rogue weapon that says shuffle the leftmost card in your hand into your deck, death rattle, draw 2 cards. Which seems very good. Yeah, it's just like you're going to play it on curve. And I think, like, yes, there's the possibility of maybe it helps make a quest rogue playable, but I don't even think of it in terms of that so much as just that it net draws you a card, right? A lot of times you're not going to care what you're shuffling back in at the start. And if you do, then, maybe you just wait a little bit. It's one of those sort of efficient rogue cards that I think can be easy to sort of underestimate. And then you realize just is part of what helps, knit something together into a really consistent whole. And I think you're going to be seeing a lot of these on 2.
I mean, it kind of feels like, if I'm going to make a Magic analogy, it feels like a Thrill of Possibility to some extent, right? I mean, you're not discarding it, but discarding in Magic is something that you can get back usually, whereas, so you're discarding into your deck. But, discard a card, draw 2 cards. That's a pretty common thing that you do in Magic a lot. Yeah. And those effects are generally good, right? I mean, it's not really card advantage because you're basically spending 2 cards to draw 2 cards, but you're not spending the card anyway. You're just putting it back in the deck. So I could see it. If you don't have cards in your hand, then you don't put anything back, and you still get to.
Yeah, what was I now I remembered it. There was that shuffling magnifying glass or something in Demon Hunter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that one was when you attack with it, you draw up until you have at least 3 cards in hand.
That was what got you cards back in your hand. There were other things that shuffled cards into your hand. But anyway, that
exactly.
works.
Yeah, there was stuff that shuffled, but then that one would refill you up to 3. Yeah.
This you don't have to worry about having gotten rid of your whole hand, but it is effective to do the shuffle things when you don't have anything in your hand, and then you're just like, now I'm just net drawing cards.
We don't have a rogue right now where that would realistically happen, so
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, the rogues are not particularly good at dumping their hands. They're good at a lot of things. That's not one of them. Yeah, because a lot of things just put more cards in their hand.
I've been doing a lot of dumping my hand in order to have enough for Shalandrasil or have enough for Ashamain
Yeah.
over the past few days. All right. Well, Wicked, what was the card that you just wanted to talk about?
Well, if you're going to pick the fast priest card, I'm going to pick the slow priest card, which is
Mhm.
Atlasaurus, which is an 8 mana 5/10 very majestic beast, by the way. I want you to look at that and not be impressed with the majesty of that beast. That is a gentleman of a dinosaur if I've ever seen one. But anyway, so it's an 8 mana 5/10 beast. Taunt, death rattle, summon a random taunt minion that costs 5 or more. Yeah. I mean, that seems like
That's a wall.
in a slow priest, that is a thing I am very interested in doing. Is play me a taunt that gets me a taunt. Seems good, and it's going to be a good taunt. Because I mean, most of the taunts that cost 5 or more could be a Tortola. It's random, so it's not discover. It could be, it's going to be from any class. It could be, it could be something really good. A lot of the taunts that are expensive are going to be good, for the most part.
I'm seeing a theme with your cards you just want to talk about.
Which is
Well, given your last one was Blob of Tar.
Taunts that make taunts. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's taunts all the way down. It's just I want things that are going to protect my pretty face. That's what it is. So
Mm-hmm.
and I still do love I still love my sweet blobby boy. So
cards we just wanted to talk about last time. I said Nabalaya. Otherwise, you said Escape the Underfell. Took a second, but we got there on that one. And Wicked, you said Blob of Tar because I still love him.
And I still do. He's the best.
All right, well then that will do it.
Cool. So we have many folks we'd like to thank. Check out the thanks section on the website at Concede.com, where you also find our contact info, our show notes, and our Patreon information. You can monetarily support our show at patreon.com/CoinConcede. Join us every week live by following us on Twitch at twitch.coinconcede.com. Subscribe to us on YouTube at youtube.com/@CoinConcede. Join our community chats in our Discord at discord.coinconcede.com. Write into our email at coinconcede@gmail.com. Follow us on Blue Sky at CoinConcede. And if you'd like some CC swag, head on over to our shop at shop.coinconcede.com. CoinConcedes.
Well, I think we all have Ridiculous Hat on our list because he has gotten a new job. Sadly, not with the Hearthstone team. So we're going to miss working with him, but he does have a new job with, oh gosh, what's the name of the game? Elestrals, yeah, which is a paper collectible card game. That's an indie CCG that's getting started up. That it also has a Steam client. So we wish him the best of luck. We wish that it was in a capacity where we got to work with him regularly, but it's good. It's great for him, and he seems really excited about it. And we wish him nothing but all the best in the new role.
Yeah. I was definitely taking a little bit of a look, wondering if this might be something in between what I like to play with in card games and my brother likes to play. He plays Yu-Gi-Oh! And has not been successful in getting me to play it. I have not been successful in getting him to play Hearthstone more than just enough to kind of appreciate my silly game stories. And this has things like special summons and special ascends for your adorable little Pokemon-like creatures. But they cost a resource. There is an action economy, and that resource that they cost is also your health, which is interesting. I think that was sort of a more unique thing of it. Now, I have not played it at all. I cannot say, this is just what I have heard about it, but it definitely looked like there was a cute flying pig. There's a cute pig that wanted to fly, and then he ascends, and now he has reached his dream of flying. So I'm there for that. Yeah, I mean that's my main coin concede as well. I'll also has just coin concede to healthcare workers everywhere. My husband was we thought he had just sprained his elbow when we had a whole saga of trying to move Ugly Chair out, and it turned out he actually tore a tendon.
Oh,
so but he was able to Go, they very quickly figured out that's what it was, and probably is going to have surgery for that, but
Oof.
it is fixable.
Yikes.
I will spare people the details of what that involves, but
Oh, great. Yeah.
but I know that it's got to be difficult working with people who are often having a very bad day if they're there, right? And doing their best to be helpful, so appreciate that.
Well, on a lighter note, I will concede to the recommendations of what I think is a probably queer employee at my local Barnes & Noble, because I went to the fantasy and sci-fi sections, and cozy fantasy has gotten bigger than I realized. And as I was looking through some of those sorts of titles, how they'll put the front-facing books, and there'll be a recommendation from someone sort of saying a little bit about the book, and a couple of them specifically called out either has sapphic themes or this queer cozy fantasy, and I'm like, one of you cares about this, or else this would not be here. I have difficulty believing that someone would specifically call that out who is a strictly cis straight employee. So shout out or concede to that employee, and in general just the cozy fantasy genre, which seems to be spiking, I guess, in terms of new books, which feels very, very necessary in the times we're in. What if the world was not ending in the book I'm reading about, and actually it's just
I could maybe use a bit of that, yeah.
Yeah.
I was reading a book with a sapphic romance, although not cozy fantasy per se. The Incandescent, which I mentioned a few weeks ago and then got distracted from and then finished. When I get distracted from a book, it has nothing to do with whether the book is good. It's just because I'm ADHD. Anyway, there was a male character who shows up to make it a love triangle, and I'm like, this guy's up to no good. This guy is clearly evil, or he wouldn't be messing up our sapphic romance. And I don't think it's really much of a spoiler to say I was right. Just knew it.
Well, on that note, that's going to do it for us for this week. So until next time, keep calm and get egg-cited for the mini set. And if you see us on ladder, coin concede.
Coin concede.
Coin concede.
All life must end. I yield for now. I concede. Well fought. I concede.
You win this one.
The victory is yours.
You have bested me.
I give up.
You win this one, friend. You win this time. I choose death.